Of course, let's get interactive on the many issues we are dealing with this afternoon here on the Pulse, on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook. Your comments are welcome. My name is Elton Brobe. Of course, 3 Indian nationals have been arrested in a joint operation by the Ghana Gold Board and national security operatives for attempting to smuggle several kilograms of gold out of the country. Now, in addition to the gold, large sums of cash in Ghana cedis were also seized during the coordinated crackdown. The operation, which took place in Kumasi and Anyinam, the Eastern region, is part of Gold Board intensified efforts to combat illegal gold trade and enforce the Ghana Gold Board Act 2025, Act 1140, which strictly prohibit unauthorized gold export. Now, speaking to the media, Gold Board's media relations Prince Kwame Minka confirmed the suspects were arrested separately in 2 locations and emphasized Gold Board's commitment to routine smuggling syndicates in the gold trading sector.
You remember that we issued a statement and some warnings indicating that by the 30th of April this year, all foreigners were expected to exit the local gold trading market. And prior to this day, our team busted 3 Indians who were operating within the local gold trading. And when I say operating within the local gold trading industry, they were buying and selling like now under the new laws, which is solely the reserve of Gold Board. So as a result of that, they were arrested and then arraigned before court. And as it stands now, because what happened with regards to them did not occur at a time where we had asked that foreigners should exit the local gold trading market, we have decided, upon hindsight, to allow them, as in repatriate them to their country of origin so they can unite with their family. And that is not to say that any foreigner who will fall foul to the current rules of engagement will be let to go free. And I'm going to explain that in a short while. So just to reiterate, the 3 Indians who were arrested and subsequently arraigned before court for flouting what was supposed to be our rules of engagement in terms of the local gold trading industry, because their arrest did not occur at the time where we had issued the deadline, they would be allowed to go back to their home, as in their country. But the 3, those who were arrested, as you can see behind me, they were the first group, and the arrest occurred before. The arrest occurred before the 30th of April. I remember at that time, it was not the deadline. So the arrest occurred before the deadline. And because of that, they've been allowed to go back to their country of origin and reunite with their family. But for the latest bust, which has occurred, for them, they will face the full rigors of the law. Just like the initial one or the first batch, they were caught flouting our laws, and with them, per the arrest, and what we got to know were, some, gold counting machines and some dollars as well, cash also with them as well. And these things have been confiscated, and they are going to be made to face the full rigors of the law. As I've said on some of your platforms, if you're a foreigner and you're caught trading within the local gold trading industry, which is now the sole reserve of the Gold Board, you will be made to face the law. So with this one, unlike the first batch, who have been given a grace or a pat on the back whilst warning them, they will be made to go back to their home country. But for the second batch, they will be made to go walk the mile. In fact, they'll face the full rigors of the law. So like we did with the initial one, they go to court, and then when a judgment is passed, what will follow will follow. So this is a warning to every foreigner in Ghana. The rules are simple. Local gold trading industry is the sole reserve of the gold board. If you're a foreigner and you want to trade, you want to offtake gold, the silver lining here is for you to write to the gold board an LOI, and then you come do a negotiation, and then we'll help ship the gold for you. And for the locals, for Ghanaians, you are expected to as well apply for any of our licenses so that you'll be able to have that full protection from the gold board when you embark on gold trading in the country. So colleagues, we called you here just to announce an update of the first batch of Indians that were caught smuggling gold, flouting our laws, and indicating to you that because the arrest did not happen at the time of the deadline, we have allowed them to, we are repatriating them to their countries, to their country. And for those who were arrested recently, because it fell after the deadline, they decided not to yield to the warnings, in spite of the numerous warnings that we had issued out on all the media platforms. And I'm sure both local and international media carried out our warnings. So I was a bit surprised hearing that some foreigners had engaged in this illicit activity. So yes, for them, they will face the full rigors of the law, and unlike the first batch, they will not be repatriated.
Right, so you will come back, and that's the head of corporate affairs with the Gold Board, Mr. Minkam, and delighted to say that he's joined me in the studio as we travel through this process for the time being again. Prince, welcome.
Thank you, Elton. I hope you're fine.
Quite some busy time in the office.
Yes.
So first, walk us through how these individuals were arrested, because I remember that, I mean, you spoke about two different sets of individuals. So let's separate them.
Okay.
Today's event, which resulted in the confiscation of gold and money, who are involved in this particular arrest?
Okay, so today's event, talk about those involved.
Okay.
Typically, I mean, as we mentioned at the press conference, 3 Indians, and just as we have indicated, foreigners are not supposed to play any role in the local gold trading industry.
Looks like they didn't get the message.
They didn't get the memo, they didn't get the message, they didn't get the warnings. And I'm even surprised because the 3 that were arrested and subsequently arraigned before court were Indians.
Okay.
And I quite remember in the office, our phones were buzzing with calls from India, with people getting to, appreciate exactly what went down with regards to the earlier story. So just as I indicated at the press conference, I was a bit taken aback that they didn't heed to that warning, but decided to embark on this illicit activity leading to their arrest. So the 3 were arrested because they were playing that role, that no-go role within the local gold trading industry. And then, just as we indicated, unlike the first ones, they will be arraigned before court, and then the processes
will start. But I realize that according to the information you provided, they were arrested in Kumasi and then Enyinam.
Okay.
So explain to me how the smuggle aspect came in, because clearly Kumasi and Enyinam is nowhere close to any of Ghana's borders.
I understand.
Right.
So, I mean, just as the earlier ones, when they involve themselves in the trading and they have the gold, they smuggle them outside the country. So their trading activities occur in these 2 areas, Kumasi and Enyinam. So they were caught in one of their usual activities, and then for which has led us to where we are, where we are expecting that they'll be arraigned before court.
So they were caught buying the product?
They were caught buying the product. And
that is illegal.
Upon interrogation, yes, they are not supposed to buy or even sell as foreigners. The buying and selling remains a sole prerogative of Gold Board.
So as a foreigner,
let me break this down. And for any Ghanaian who wants to involve himself in the buying and selling he or she would need license from the gold board. But for a foreigner who wants to buy gold from Ghana, he would have to work through gold board in of taking the gold from Ghana.
He cannot buy from
directly from
the main
miner.
source.
Yeah, as in the miner, the main
miner.
source, being a miner, or even someone who suggests that he's a buyer or a seller. You cannot buy from.
And in this case, this is what happened.
Exactly.
They were buying from a miner.
They were buying
which is against the law.
They were buying from a miner, which is against the law. If you look at the law, the Gold Board Act 1140, sections 48 and 64 has a lot of explanation with regards to what happens to anyone when he or she is caught engaged in such an act, which is trading or smuggling.
So clearly, this is an intelligence-led operation that led to the arrest of this individual.
And that's the reason the national security was heavily involved in all this. So it's a collaboration between the national security and the Gold Board. You know that Gold Board had earlier issued a warning, and we are continuing to issue that warning, and also re-emphasizing the point that we are not going to treat anyone with kid's glove. Not this time, not ever. The first batch who have been let go is as a result of the fact that
the law had yet to fully take off.
Absolutely, and the deadline. I mean, it was not it happened prior to the deadline. Because it happened prior to the deadline, that's the reason they've been let go in that manner. You know, and of course the repatriation is going to take the legal process. But for the second batch of arrests, which we announced today, they will go down and they'll walk the mile, like I said.
All right.
So they'll be arraigned before court, and if judgment is passed and they are guilty, just like any Ghanaian will suffer for flouting the law, they would also suffer same. If you read the Gold Board Act, I mean, the part that talks about flouting of our rules and regulation, it uses a very instructive word, a person. A person. It does not say foreigner or Ghanaian, a person. And a person is a person.
Yeah, once you are caught, it would not matter whether you're foreign or
whether you're foreign or Ghanaian.
And maybe on the lighter side, in the videos that we brought to our viewers, one of them is in a t-shirt with a description, Masters of Disaster. So he was clearly in the business of causing it.
Absolutely.
But I'm also interested in their collaborators. I'm sure they didn't move from Accra or wherever, they moved from Kumasi or Enyinam without somebody telling them that I have gold that I can sell to you. So what happened to that connection there? Okay,
so in the first case, the first batch of people that we arrested, they were being fronted by one person named Salifu, and they were using a company called Unique MM to do their operations. And this latest bust, in fact, the details are a bit sketchy. I'm yet to get briefing on whether they were local collaborators. But what I know with regards to the first instance is that the local collaborator, Salifu, is also facing the law. And in due course will come out and will speak forcefully on this particular matter. But we are again using this opportunity to sound the alarm that any foreigner caught within the local gold trading industry will not be let go just like that. It will not be business as usual. No kid's glove. And we are going to go all out and ensuring that the laws of Ghana work. Because we want to maximize national benefits from our gold. That's the whole idea. We don't want foreign players taking undue advantage of the industry. And that is what has affected the country for far too long, and for which Gold Board is here to salvage.
I mean, it's too early because your Gold Board, I mean, came into existence this year. But we have examples where we can point to and say that we can draw from their lessons. And Cocoa Board is one classical example. I think smuggling is one of the issues that they are dealing with, and it is getting difficult to deal with it on a daily basis. I remember last year, for example, the sector minister for Agric, then former minister Brandon Champon, was, I mean, unhappy with the fact that Togo, for example, is now exporting cocoa. Yet, if you go there, we wouldn't find any cocoa tree. And the smuggling or whatever beans they are exporting obviously came from Ghana. And he gave assurance of what they are doing to arrest it quite clearly. It's not working to perfection. your board is new, but is smuggling an issue for you even as we speak?
Smuggling has and will always be an issue. And smuggling is one of the main areas, or one of the main canker that we want to root out. And that's why if you look in the law, if you look at the law, I mean, I was quoting section 47, 48, which deals extensively, section 49, which deals extensively with smuggling. It talks about the fact that the Gold Board shall, in collaboration with relevant institutions, conduct a random audit of gold service provider, deploy enforcement teams at strategic border points and export terminals, and utilize drone surveillance and artificial intelligence-driven monitoring to detect the illegal movement of gold.
Are you doing this already?
So it's
because I know that the office is new.
Yes.
You may not have presence in all the border towns.
Yes.
So how are you implementing this aspect of the law?
We are implementing this using the law. And a clear example of the results of this implementation is what you are seeing today.
Great.
Where 3 Indians have been busted. So the 3 that were busted, adding up to the initial one, makes up for 6. So now 6 foreign nationals have been busted for engaging within the local gold trading industry. So it's something that we are keen on, ensuring that, look, we get the best of results for Mother Ghana.
And it's important because, in fact, this week, for example, we were told by the Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Ampem-Darkom, that so far, the export that the board has made runs into a little over $2 billion United States dollars. And the expectation from government is that Gold Board will undertake at least $1 billion of exports every month. And that is significant in terms of revenue generation and stabilizing the city. So no room whatsoever is being left for anybody to exploit the system.
That's right. And that's, I mean, rightly said, and that's exactly what we're doing in terms of these developments that we are putting out there today. So this is not just to say that, look, we're organizing a press conference and then talking about something that is abstract. We've shown you evidence of what these guys were involved in. I mean, the gold bars, the gold that they were almost taken outside our country. We've confiscated them.
Are you able to put a value to it?
I'm unable to put a value to it, but there's a lot.
And the money that was seized as
well. Your cameras were there,
right?
And it's quite a lot of gold. I mean, I tried holding just a bag. I mean, just a little bag,
and it's quite heavy.
And it's quite heavy. I mean, I almost broke my arm, literally. You know, raising that particular gold. So it's quite a lot.
And the money that was seized, to how much are we talking about here?
I'm unable to put a figure to it, but I mean, your reporter was there, Carlos was there, he saw it. I mean, a bag full of money. That's what we are talking about.
And so the commodity gold and the money will be used as evidence in the prosecution?
Absolutely. And just as the investigators indicated at the press conference, under normal circumstances, exhibits are not meant to be unwrapped. But because the media wanted to see the content of what had been wrapped in a parcel, we decided to open it for everyone to see. And so it's been duly closed, and then we're going to present it before court.
The punishment regime in all of this, is it left to the discretion of the judge, or the law makes it clear that when arrested in the circumstances as we are reporting, this is what must be handed down to you?
In fact, the law states explicitly exactly what can be done to anyone caught smuggling gold. I mean, to the extent that when we value your gold multiplied by 5 times of the value, that could be slapped on you as a penalty. And then there are prison sentences that are also attached to these actions as well.
But so far, no Ghanaian is facing prosecution for some of these things.
I can tell you that Salifu, the gentleman who was in the middle of the first saga, who was fronting for the 3 Indians, is facing the law. And in due course, in due time, will come out and speak about Ghanaians who are fronting the foreigners. My boss and CEO, Samajan, feels pretty keen on that. And he feels that, look, the system must be cleared of any form of dishonesty.
Right. The other matter is about pressure that may likely come upon you as you undertake this exercise. The persons involved are not Ghanaians. And usually when this arena is open, there you see diplomatic pressure being brought upon the states. Sometimes, I mean, we can reference Osafo and Aisha One. Is it already happening?
I've not heard or seen any instance of undue pressure from any quarters. But what I can say as a patriotic Ghanaian and a former journalist and still a journalist is that, look, we are a sovereign country, a country that has laws, a country that is bent on ensuring that its laws work effectively to inure to the people of Ghana. So regardless of whatever pressure that may come, as far as this current leadership is concerned, I am able to vouch for them that, look, the laws will be implemented regardless of whatever pressure that will come. We are bent on ensuring that we maximize national benefit from our gold, our mineral resources, and regardless of whatever pressure that will come, we'll ensure that this is that. But of course, you can trust the diplomatic prowess of our Foreign Affairs Minister to mitigate that when we get to that bridge.
And Prince, before I let you go, let's quickly touch on the licensing. There was a deadline that was set the last time you came to. You educated us on this. In terms of people applying, is it encouraging? How many do you have? And then are you vetting them to grant these licenses?
I can tell you for a fact that as it stands now, we're beginning to do due diligence on a number of people that have applied for the various forms of licenses. And as it stands now, there are 4 that we are issuing: the aggregator license, the self-financing aggregator license, buyer license tier 1, and then buyer license tier 2. Last time I explained all. Right. And for anyone who wants to understand any of these licenses and what the requirements are, you can go on our website, goldboard.gov.gh, and read details of that. But people are trooping in, people are applying for the licenses. But again, the deadline for the issuance of these licenses is on the 21st of May, 2025.
For both local and foreign?
As for the foreigners, they are not getting licenses.
But they play a role.
The role they play is to buy from us,
from the board,
or offtake from Gold Board. But for the locals, for us Ghanaians, you would have to apply for the license on our website. When you get to our website and you click on the licensing, or you click on any of the category of license that you want, it will take you to an application portal where you get to fill the form. And then...
And in terms of vetting, what exactly are you looking out for?
We're looking out for the documents, the documentations that we've asked applicants to provide. We would do a due diligence on them, and then the various questions that we ask, for instance, the assay equipment, the SRF equipment, how many do you have? What's the state of it? Which you are instructed to provide. We'll do a due diligence and see if the answers that you provided are correct before you be granted.
We're also looking at the situation where people, some entity may hide behind
absolutely
a Ghanaian,
especially those who would want to front for foreigners.
Exactly.
All that has been taken.
But me, as I'm sitting here with no experience in this area and I want to go into it, I'm allowed.
With no experience wanting to go into gold trading.
Right.
Well, there are layers of it. So depending on what you want, that would determine which license you would go for in order to be able to involve yourself in the gold trading in Ghana.
All right. Prince, we are ending. Any final words before you go?
My final word is to all foreigners. Ghana operates an open market economy, right? Free market economy. And Ghana is a lover of every national everywhere in the world. What we are doing is aimed at ensuring that the right things are done. So let us all abide by the regulations. Foreigners are not supposed to buy or trade in gold in Ghana. Your only avenue is for you to come to Gold Board and offtake from Gold Board. That's all I have to say for now.
And before you go, how is your boss doing, Mr. Samiji, in the midst of all the media storm around this?
Which storm?
The one about the dollar going out.
Oh, there's no storm. There's no media storm.
But how is he doing?
My boss is doing very well. As a matter of fact, he's excited with this latest development that we've been talking about. He's excited about it. He's focused, and his vision is to ensure that Gold Board works, and one day we'll tell a story and we'll look back and say, we came, we saw, be conquered.
This time bring us Gov't. Prince Minka is the head of corporate affairs with the Gov't board. Prince, thank you so much for coming through. And of course, from Gov't, let's talk about the rail sector, because it's also another sector that requires urgent reform. The railway sector is come to a halt due to workers of the Ghana Railway Company Limited indefinite strike that started yesterday. Now, workers of the state-owned company, they've resolved not to return to work until all their poor working conditions are met and delays in salaries paid. And we're talking about 7 months here. Now, the workers who commenced a strike yesterday are also calling for the privatization of the railway sector, citing chronic mismanagement by the Ghana Railway Company Limited. But trade and commerce activities are also grounded to a halt. But for patrons of Ghana Rail System, Collins Frimpong has been engaging some of the traders at the Tema railway station and came through with this report.
If he says, Jumano Corsono, market in Ewo, Omoba, Unquafurba food training to Omoba Hantem. To a bantam to Miss Miyoko and Tema, to be mam. Nimpawa hapa, anti Monday no, and you bring a minion TSA, Tuesday on back strike. Nti me share me market na monsieur okay ampa so na ha nya kra em say omunya information wana wo fo no omunya information nti mbo mi say that na wana wo be fo so no so o amati o bibisa na ya wona so me say okay ampa so nti me so me share the way am beton me me adwuma no me te so ampa so da na ha ya boring pa nti ende da na ende market no shada aye we mame ti men so strike na wo kwai no men so aha me kakra so e be ye ne der workers na omusu pa enye ize ma won men omo na e wa ha enye ize ma won kra wo be ye adwuma wa busumpo ye ti o ka wa etisen na 7 months nti enye ize nti wo kwa strike na if you say pay fo no bet na wa ye ho bibi kakra ma won nti me so kakra me so me waka no
no moton koko na mra training ye adwuma na time ben say enenketimi sama on enra ne o hwa mra ben say na opon enra ne so
oh bi ho 9 na mapon bi mpo ya mgba 9 na mapon ma chawa ha oh na maka no that time na ndra de me pon wa mpo na 10:30 ko gba 11 nda so bi na me wa hai nti anu de almost strike na aka me.
Meanwhile, the Polish-built train intended for the Tema and Pakadan railway line is still idle. Now, months after repair works were done following an accident in April of 2024. Now, workers of the Ghana Railway Company Limited allege that the train remains grounded because the Ghana Railway Company Limited claims it lacks the funds to purchase fuel for test run to resume the shuttle service.
Last year, I say, I was saying, we scour, I was here, the full number. But I say, pay more than one, and so. A quite pony, I read that train be amad, engine me no the banso, a besue, intimate headman. This intimate money, the nurses or mano, you need fap him, you fap him, you know, I didn't, a bear cuckoo, bala shono, near Gemato, 3 years was in Yamia mem. Not your mamma and casse or no person or my contract na, your money into no bet me as I be idea. Yes, idea, besue as I say.
Who can new one?
New
the accident.
Sabe penalty.
Nya accident ni nya nti so mo repair.
O my area so see as engines coaches who have bet me akwa. Okay, was a start here you but ni nyina so koka say fuel. Scan word beto fuel ni nema. Afia kwan so o mo say kwan so problem kwan no. Problem there wo ho but ke ye adwuma kakran na dey solve problem na ke be ba coach na isi no. After nipa from I had to pack a diner 3B2, then you pay by 200 there. Then for so many be also. No mind was a boca. There was a cram coaches in Beckham one son a train at me a move. Say 3 way per a move if we have to pack a diner or minor boca totally. There was a coaches in the bus. So coaches are ma who he has a training eduma. Two crying coaches tray a banana the engine way ba. Engine to funny pen 200. Now say I'm free uncle pack a diner. Full at the beco. Nick on ba. Na hwesi kai benya se betumi atosafo wani mpoa nti o man ye hia coaches no saban no kra no ni confirm investment e wo Ghana ye weskafo be blo motime do musika akra bi di aba na woni o makọ nhihye wo mu e wo so ye e betumi abo ba ya anya de sade atamie pese broni be ya no so no atwe o man no kwa akire sabi metimi abubu skafo bi din kwam desperate ne wa skafo bebre wo man mu e de adwuma mu o so mo kra coaches mu e beba but aban ne hwe ne sa tambia e be se broni na be broni ne so oba obehwe adwuma na se ne man tie ka ne ne ma wo ho no ada so nya na atwintwina ho ana bibia se 3 ya odi abai kenyame aduma e kama but coaches nka ho ti uma sa engineer e mfa nipa more than 200 e ko ha ne mpaka dan ba o man na boka ti esra man ne se ni manim ya no de adwuma be ma investment bi no mo di coaches ni bi aba ka betimi abo o man
na wo ka se police training accident no ya repair we or ya
bibi oh me fan say ya repair 4 months more money
for almost 4 months
sure
and that's this one now can for one sem muntimi for ehunfo ne se muntimi for workers ne ntimi to ana
workers ne ntimi to company ni so company ni niska because
all right, so that's the state of the Ghana Railway Company, a very sad state. Let's engage the acting chief executive officer of the Ghana Railway Development Authority, Dr. Frederick Apo. Dr. Apo, it's good to have you here on the pulse. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And quite clearly, you are in a sector that requires serious intervention. And I'm wondering how distressed it must be, sitting in the office and looking at the state of the Ghana Railway Company.
Yes. Look, although the Ghana Railway Development Authority, GRDA, and Ghana Railway Company Limited, we are two distinct entities under the Act 779. We are the GRDA. We take pride of our colleagues at GRCL very seriously. And of course, the issue of non-payment for salaries over 7 months is deeply concerning. And we acknowledge the genuine hardships this has caused GRCL staff. On the other hand, I am very much aware of the efforts being taken by the Minister for Transport, Honorable Nipe, to address this issue of non-payment of salaries. And we at the development side, we are working tirelessly to expand the railway infrastructure and unlock economic viable areas within the railway operation. I would like to touch base on a few things.
Right.
Tema to Mpakadan remains one of the key infrastructure assets of the country. The two trains are operable. They are operable. They are in good condition, ready to go. And the fact that the trains are not working has got nothing to do with fuel shortages.
That's the claim of the worker.
Yes. Has got nothing to do with fuel shortages. On the 15th of March, we embarked on the track inspection of Tama to Mpakadan. We encountered a lot of issues, encroachment issues, buffer stop was almost not there, taken off by scrap dealers. Most of the nut and screw slots have been illegally taken from the line. We are in the process of rectifying all these issues. And at the moment, I can confidently say that 75% of the ongoing defect mitigation action plans is almost done. We are almost complete in terms of the mitigation plan.
But the last time on on the rail trucks, and the fact that some criminals, for want of a better word, decided that they would embark on their criminal activities, resulting in sometimes the removal of the screws and some components of the truck. And last year, for example, we were told that the value of what they've taken away from the trucks runs into millions of the United States dollars.
Yes, it's true. In terms of the point machines or the interlock system, this control the signaling of the train. So in any railway system, we have 3 types. We have the vehicle that you see, the rolling stock. We have the track, which obviously the rolling stock moves on, the vehicle moves on, that is the train. But what most people don't see is the brain of the train or the brain of the railway system. That's the signaling command and control center. That controls the traffic, and in essence, it controls the revenue. So what has happened so far is that we have encountered issue, or we observed that most of the point machines, the aluminium plates have been stolen. We are in the process of replacing all of them. indeed, some of the locks are not gone. Scrap dealers, especially in built-up areas in Ashama and also Tema Harbour areas, almost gone. We have replaced all of them. So the idea of commencement of service is a good thing. But as a chief executive of the authority, my objective is to ensure that we are going to operate a safe railway line.
Right.
And therefore, I have tasked my team. We are almost there, 75% complete in terms of the rectification work. And Tema to Mpakadan will commence very soon.
All right.
And we are going to commence the service between Tema and Adome.
Just if you can kindly hold it briefly for me. Let me also bring in labor experts, Mr. Austin Game. Mr. Game, always a pleasure to have you here on the program. Good afternoon. Right, so we'll try and get Mr. Game's attention so we can put some few questions in. But Dr. Apostle, these workers who are complaining about non-payment of their salaries for over 7 months now, is it a case that they are paid from internally generated resources of the company? Because one would assume that if they are government employees, they will be paid from the consolidated fund.
No, GRCL, I think the best... I don't want to be speaking on behalf of the GRCL, but like GRDA, GRCL is a limited liability company that must pay to the internal generated fund. You are right. But at the moment, due to the, let's say,
the state of affairs,
shortage of services, especially between Takrade, because our active line is between Tema, Accra. They run 2 trains, one in the morning, one in the evening. And in Takrade, we also run 2 DMUs, of which one has been parked due to technical errors, technical fault on some of the, what we call it, traction control units. I was there last week. So the incident is, if you look at the operational capacity in terms of IGF is limited.
Right.
But on the authority side, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to conduct market sounding to allow private sector participation in terms of the railway operation, which will obviously enhance in terms of revenue generation. So with the private sector participation, we are going to have we are going to reduce the revenue leakages or limit it in terms of revenue leakages. And we are also going to introduce a bit of what we call generate funds that could also pay for these workers.
All right.
So
if you can kindly give me just a second so that I can bring in Mr. Austin Game. Mr. Game is a labor consultant and he's joined us. Mr. Game, as always, a pleasure to have you here. Good afternoon. Welcome, sir. And if you can unmute for me, sir. Right. Good afternoon, Mr. Austin Game. Right, we'll try and rectify what is causing. Yes, I can hear you now loud and clear. So good afternoon, and always a pleasure to have you on the program.
I am unable to hear you. Is there anything you people can do there?
All right, then our technicians will work on this. Mr. Game cannot hear us. This will be rectified so that we can have a very good conversation. I don't know whether it's good now to hear me. Mr. Game, can you hear me?
Quite okay now.
Right. So, I mean, I'm hearing from the CEO of the authority. Now, the workers say that they've not been paid in the last 7 months. What is clear is that they are paid from internally generated funds. They also admit to a question that they've not been working. I mean, they are not bringing in anything. I mean, their main source of income was the Western line that was used to transport bauxite and other natural resources. Because of activities of illegal mining, that line is out of use. So nothing is coming in as of now. So if they are not working, they are not generating funds, they are obviously becoming a burden on the company. Shouldn't the state take a firm decision and say that if we are not going to operate this line, then we must find some compensation for them and let them go home instead of them staying and hoping for something to come, which is not coming?
Thank you. I'm grateful. First of all, I am in great sympathy, or if you like, empathy with the working people who have now become a burden on themselves and the state, if you like. Having said so, I think it's important that we place this matter in perspective. I grew up seeing railway working reasonably well in Ghana. I used to take sleeper from Accra to Kumasi and back. I used to take train from Accra to Tema, to the shipyard where my office was. And so clearly we were beneficiaries of an existing railway system that was not a burden per se. Now, since then, railway has virtually collapsed, and people were laid off before through severance. Quite a huge number of people severed relationship with and were paid properly, and we later find a way of reviving it, which wasn't properly done, but we carried it along to date. And to be honest with you, it's about time, as I'm sure some of the workers were themselves demanding, that government and the state, for that matter, make a firm decision to properly privatize, in part, the railway system, just like it's done in other countries like Britain. I think that way we might be benefiting from it than the way it is now. But I really empathize with them.
So as we speak now, and they are crying and asking that something is done about their 7 months salary, who should shoulder that responsibility when the company is a limited liability?
Well, obviously, if it comes to the crunch, it will become the state. Let's be honest here. And so they cannot, that's where in industrial relations we talk about negotiating and ensuring that you have a flexibility clause in your collective agreement. But in an unlikely event of this nature, you don't say, I have an agreement that says, dito, I must get this. You have to be flexible, and because the state is not directly responsible for this, it's a makeup of both the state and the working people themselves. If you like, leadership and unions, everybody is involved. And I'm sure the union leaders there are very reasonable people, together with management and the leadership of the Ministry of Transport. We'll have to find ways and means of getting together, having a conversation, not debate, argument about this situation, so that they can agree on what can be offered the people who must necessarily be severed legal relationship with and paid some redundancy pay, so that they can go home whilst the state takes steps to cause an expression of interest in people who would like to see to the railway. Railway is a very expensive and capital-intensive kind of project. And so I pray that they will all come to that understanding.
I mean, and this brings into sharp focus, I mean, the commitments of our leaders, successive governments. I mean, I remember when President Akufo-Addo took office and he appointed Mr. Gov't as the Minister for Railway, and for the first time before the Appointments Committee of Parliament, he did a PowerPoint presentation about the sector, the potential that it had, and what was to be done to exploit the potential of the railway sector. Now, almost 9 years on, we've not moved an inch. We're virtually at the same pace, apart from constructing tracks that was left to the mercy of the weather and to the mercy of criminals. And now almost $200 million has been stolen from people that have been used and sold as scraps. So it brings into question the commitment of our leaders and successive governments in an area that, when exploited, can be a cash cow for the country.
Yeah, I agree with you. I work for a private company as a consultant that handles and is in the process still of constructing the Western Rail to the mining resource areas. So I am reasonably familiar with what goes on in the railway system, particularly in the Western and Tema where I live. And let me say that I think it's about time. We've all traveled. I've traveled through many countries.
Right.
And I do know how beneficial and industrious that railway can be to a nation, and can reduce the fatalities on our roads.
Right.
Can help address transportation of a mass number of people to workplace and back, and carry goods and services. Our agriculture produce would have been reasonably cheaper if the railway were to be functioning the way it used to in the 70s into the later part of the 80s before it collapsed. So I think that we must consciously agree. In fact, I am aware that some of the mining companies in the Western Enclave there, particularly the manganese, the bauxite, and some other produce there, may be willing to support the state. That's why I don't want to talk about government.
Right.
Support the state in ensuring that we have a functioning railway system. And private sectors would like to, if our pension systems are very mindful, since it's a long-term money available, to invest. But a lot of education will have to be carried out, because Ghanaians are very unpatriotic, or if you like, some Ghanaians are unpatriotic. Even the railway that have been constructed, we've managed to remove some of the lines to go and sell.
Right,
as scrap.
right, and sold very cheap too.
Yes, so clearly we are an unpatriotic bunch of people who don't have mercy upon ourselves. We turn around to blame governments and so forth and so on. So I think that we must consciously arrange to get seated as a people and plan strategically how to go about it. And we should not limit it to just some few people talking about it. If I work for one of the private sectors as a consultant, nobody knows what I do with the railway system.
Okay.
And so clearly that's how it is. We need to talk, just like we did during the National Economic Dialogue.
Right.
Some arrangement will have to be made for some people to get together, either in the Western region, in the wherever, to enable us talk about it. And it will save this nation quite a lot.
Mr. Osingame, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Let me give the final words to Dr. Paul. So, Dr. Paul, I mean, if you can, in a few minutes, tell us, I mean, the national goal for this particular sector, because we've heard so many promises. I can reference even the potential of the Buankra Inland Port, and the reason why it is not in operation is because government is yet to construct the line from Tema to the Ashanti region where Buankra is located. I mean, Kumasi to Takoradi rail service is dead. Kumasi to Accra is dead. We were told that the construction will take place all the way from Accra to Paga by the former railway minister, Mr. Gov't. We don't even know where we've got into, but we are nowhere near Paga. But the economic benefit is so enormous that, I mean, this can turn the country around. What, from the authorities' point of view, is the national vision, and how are you going about achieving it?
Yes. So, in terms of our national vision, in terms of this particular government, we want to ensure two things. First, we are going to commence the Tema to Mpakadan very soon. And we are about to also conduct market sounding for private sector participation on the Tema to Mpakadan operation. That is step number one. Step number two, we are equally going to conduct market sounding for private sector participation on the continuation of the Western Railway line from Hini Valley through to Dunkwao to Buankra on the right leg, and from Dunkwao to Yineyini via Awaso. So touching base on all that project. But we need to be realistic.
Right.
Railway infrastructure is very expensive. It's $5 million per consecutive, $5 million per kilometer. Per kilometer. So this is not about the rolling stock. This is just about the track and the basic signaling and telecom communication.
Quite expensive than even building at asphalt? Because a kilometer on asphalt is less than $5 million.
But in terms of longevity and benefit, the railway can last over 50 years.
Right.
In terms of longevity. So if you look at the mining, which is ongoing at Awaso and Yini, you have got over 300 trucks using the road.
Yeah, and destroying it.
Destroying it. These can be on the what we call on the road from mining to port. That is the objective. But simply, let me put it very simply. On the Western Railway line, our objective is to connect to Insuta. We are only 15 kilometers from Insuta. So we are hoping that we can resume work and connect where we are currently to the Insuta mining site. We can be hauling manganese to Takoradi, whereby we can then be able to be using our colleagues from Ghana Railway Company Limited to support the operation in the Western Railway line. So we are putting a lot of effort in place, and we are seeking private sector participation, both in the operation on the Tama to Mpakadan, as well as the continuation of the Western Railway line construction, to ensure that at least we will be able to complete up to Isuta to allow the hauling of manganese via the rail instead of the road.
But before we get to the private sector participation, for example, the one that comes from Tema to Accra every day, it comes in the morning and leaves in the evening. Isn't it possible to make it, for example, allow it to run like 10 trips within a day instead of morning and evening? Because if the patronage is good, it means running more, generates more revenue. I don't know the plan towards that.
I think the plan towards that is that if you look at it, we have in railway, we have the narrow gauge and we have the standard gauge. So the standard gauge allows for more axle load, safer and reliable. If you look at the state of the railway itself, the narrow gauge between Tema to Accra, as you correctly described, is a narrow gauge. And it's in a very bad shape in terms of deteriorating state. Even we are now running at a control speed, which is below the normal design speed. And in some instances, if you go above the control speed, you might have a derailment. So we need to look at, number one, to increase the traffic capacity, to run more trains. We need to do a full rehabilitation of the line between Tema and Accra to make sure that at least we can rehabilitate the line to a standard gauge. Once we've done that, we need to also increase the S&T in terms of capability, upgrade it, the signal and telecom. Because without the signal and telecom, you cannot run two trains at the same time. You can run one train at a time. So we need to be able to also improve on the signaling technology. So this is part of the ongoing works that we are looking, and we are also looking for private sector participation on that particular line to actually rehabilitate the line, operate and transfer. And with that, we will then be able to have our colleagues who are in JRCL accurately and fully employed in the what we call a private sector, whereby when you go to Europe, you have the state owning the infrastructure, but you have private sector operators basically managing the operation. And you have competition, innovation, and most importantly, we can reduce the revenue leakages that we are seeing and be able to pay the workers and also develop the railway without any need or recourse to public funds.
Right, but
this is what we need to implement, and we are working as.
But is there any interest so far from the private sector? Have you started the process to open it up for them to come? Has anybody shown any interest?
Yes, since my appointment, I've had the chance of meeting over. Let me be conservative, about 50 investors.
Right.
And at the moment, I am in an investment meeting until this call came. The key thing is that we are about to run a market sounding, whereby we are inviting everybody, all the players, freight operating company, train operating company, to come to Accra to participate in the market sounding, where we are going to evaluate, to select private sector operators to operate the trains, or to operate the trains on Tama to Mpakadan. This is the vision. And at the same time, we are also going to conduct market sounding to select for an investor to continue in a PPP agreement to continue the construction of the Western Railway line. So this will be announced shortly, and I'm very and the date will come. And I'm thinking June is the right time that we are going to announce this. So it's happening in June, whereby the authority will be working together with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Transport, to conduct a market sounding to select appropriate investors for both the operation of Tema to Pagadan as well as to continue the construction of the Western Railway line, at least to Isuta, and start the operationalization as well.
Right, Dr. Apo, we are with you on this journey with the hope that rail service will be restored and made to run commercially so that the country can derive the necessary benefit from it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Apo is the acting CEO of the Ghana Railway Development Authority. We're going to take a short break, but this program, The Pulse, is always brought to you by Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals. Now, are you suffering from any stubborn cough? Are you coughing? There is a remedy for you. Get fast relief from the dry cough. Expectorant is clears chest congestion, smoothens cough, and fights the common cold. So if you're going through cough, common cold, I recommend this for you quite strongly, and helping you breathe easy and feel better. Dry is available at all pharmaceuticals and OTCs across Ghana, but not recommended for children under 6 years. But if you are interested in bulk purchase, please visit Rapid Improvement Pharmaceuticals. They are located on the Sprinters Road next to the Royal House Chapel. Contact them on 0536 661 432. That's 0536 661 432. Dry, breathe easy, feel better, and they are a proud sponsor. We shall be back to deal with the other matters on the program. Stay put. Welcome back, and of course we are live on X Spaces, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on myjoyonline.com. This is The Pulse right here on Joy News. Now, from railway workers who have not been paid for 7 months, let's move to another sector. They've also not been paid their allowances, and they are not happy. The Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association of Ghana is threatening to withdraw all services if government fails to disburse their delayed allowances within a week. Now, at the news conference held this morning, the association's national president, Ebenezer Boatem, described the situation as dire, citing worsening living conditions and tragic consequences of the prolonged delay.
As members of the 2024-2025 service year group, we have been diligently working since May 2024, almost a full year, without receiving financial clearance, thereby depriving us of our rightful allowances. This repeated delays reflects a systematic neglect that has persisted over 4 years, with little to no meaningful intervention from the Ministry of Health. In April 2024, Honorable George Opariado, now Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, condemned these delays in public statements, giving us hope for change. Unfortunately, since the change in administration, all efforts to engage the relevant ministries and authorities have been unsuccessful. This prolonged financial neglect has had dark consequences. During this period, 5 of our colleagues have tragically passed away, and 6 others have been diagnosed with serious chronic illnesses requiring urgent medical care. Should our concerns remain unresolved, we will be compelled to withdraw our services nationwide until further notice. While we lack the financial strength to stage public demonstrations, we will not work under such dehumanizing conditions. We will only return to duty when our rightful demands are met. Our senior colleagues have been passing through or going through this dehumanizing condition for years. You would have to complete your 1-year mandatory rotation before you receive your allowance. It will take about 4 to 5 months before you receive the allowance. As I speak with you this morning, our senior colleagues who completed for us to also come in, which is the 2023-2024 service year group, some are yet to receive their allowances. Life has been unbearable for us. Very unbearable. Now, we have to venture into other enterprises and other means to survive. Now, what saddens me is what my colleague ladies have to do to survive.
So let's get to understand the issue much better. Now, joining me in the studio is the president of the Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association of Ghana, Ebenezer Boating. Mr. Boating, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
So first, educate us. Who is a rotational nurse or midwife?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I would say a big thank you to you and your crew. Also to my colleagues. I believe they are watching, and I wish they send in their comments. Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association is an affiliate of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, RNMA. And we comprise of general nurses, midwives, mental health nurses, and public health nurses who have successfully passed their NMC license and examination.
Right.
And are currently undertaking their 1-year mandatory national service. Because we roam all the wards. They call us rotation nurses because we roam all the wards before we complete, so that we will have experiences from all the wards, such that when you are posted, you wouldn't find yourself wanting.
Right. Yes. So therefore, you are not officially employed yet.
We are not employed.
You are you are doing national service, if you like.
Yes, please.
If for doctor, it will mean housemanship.
Yes, please.
And so what you talk of is allowances that should keep you going, and that has not been paid.
Yes, please.
How much are we talking about?
We are talking about 815 cedis a month.
815 cedis a month.
Yes. Currently, the living conditions in the country, it is nothing to write home about. But at least, if it were coming on monthly basis, it would have helped in a way or two. And this is what we are crying for. We started our rotation in May 2024, and we are in May 2025. And we don't even have financial clearance yet. So if even the clearance is in, and your name is not part, it means you've served for a year, and you don't even have financial clearance, and you are not receiving anything.
So basically, so 1 year, meaning you should actually be finishing this service.
Yes, please.
This phase of work.
We will complete on May 22nd, because we started in 22nd May 2024. So 22nd May 2025, we are supposed to complete our national service.
And no word as to when this money will be paid?
No word. No word from anyone. Even taking into consideration the effort we've put in place to reach out to our stakeholders, to even hear from them. No word from anyone.
And how many are you in terms of your nationwide number?
Okay. So currently we have the 2024-2025 service year group, the cohorts. I am a member of the 2024-2025 cohorts. And we are over 20,000 in number. And then we have the 2025-2026 cohort. They were just posted, and they are around 17,000. So approximately together, we are close to 40,000 in number.
And every one of you is yet to be paid this 815 cedis a month. That is now accumulated to a year.
Yes, please. I will only take out our colleagues who are degree nurses. For them, the allowances come from the National Service Authority. So they are not owing them. But for those who went to the training colleges with diploma, we have not received anything from them. And we are the greatest number. Our colleagues from the universities will not even be more than 5,000.
All right. And you say that this is impacting negatively on your members.
True.
And you are linking 5 deaths to this current situation.
Yes, please.
How?
Okay, so this is it. Assuming a member is suffering from a chronic illness and needs money to sort things out or to pay for medical bills and other things, should this money be coming, at least they could have used it to buy medicine or any other thing. Now, about 2 years ago, one of our colleagues in Sunyani had to hang himself because he was owing all around him. He was owing people. And day in, day out, they were coming to him for their monies. And out of that shame, he hanged himself. He wrote a note in that regard.
Indicating the reason why he took his own life.
Yes. And these are clear examples of how unbearable things are for us. And we want Ghanaians to put themselves in our shoes. Assuming if we work for, let's take only 2 months, and you've not received anything. See, some of us, apart from the fact that we are having a national service, we have families to take care of.
Right.
So it makes things very unbearable for us. And it's very true.
And any reach out from government, for example, the Ministry of Health?
Yes, about 3 weeks ago, we brought out a press statement and we granted interviews on some media stations. So I received a call from one man who said he is the spokesperson to the minister.
Minister for Health?
Yes, please. He wanted to speak with me on phone, but I opted for
a face-to-face conversation.
Interaction, yes. So I went to his office. Luckily enough for me, the PRO for the ministry was also there with two other people, big men from the ministry. They were there. So I went to meet them. And after everything, we were to schedule a date to meet them for a clear pathway or a way to end this problem. But we declined their invitation on the fact that last year, in April last year, our predecessors organized a demonstration. So when they got to the Ministry of Health, the PRO to the ministry met them, told them to hold on with whatever they are doing because they will schedule a meeting with them and find a lasting solution to the problem. So they scheduled this meeting, gave them all the assurances in the world. Right after the meeting, my former president gave me physical evidence of the calls and the WhatsApp and text messages he sent to the PRO without a reply. They didn't hear anything from him until August, September, where they started receiving their allowances. So based on that, once bitten, twice shy, we will not also come and have this meeting with you. You give us assurances.
But it is this conversation that can get this matter resolved. And if you are not availing yourself to the ministry, then you will continue to shout in the media.
Yes, we told them that we would like to honor their invitation, but the minister should be present in that meeting. If the minister wouldn't be there and the chief director, fine. But to meet the PR and the spokesperson alone, we perceive that it will end up as it ended up last year. Because it's their responsibility to calm us down and they calm nails down. That's their responsibility. But we need the minister to know what we are going through, although he knows. But officially, he may say he doesn't know. So we want to meet him officially. We find a lasting solution to this, then we can resume whatever we...
And you say that if this is not done in a week, you will pull out from the walls.
Okay.
How would that affect service delivery in the hospitals?
Thank you so much. I like this question. As we speak, when you go to any facility in the country, you wouldn't be able to distinguish between a service personnel and a staff because we do almost the same thing. There has been countless times that I personally have been the only person at the ward taking care of clients. When you come, you wouldn't know that I'm a service personnel because I have the skill and the knowledge to perform.
Right.
So now, we are crying out to the ministries, we are crying out to Guineans, we are crying out to the government to come in and find a lasting solution to this problem. Should they ignore us? We gave them 14 working days. 14 working days.
2 weeks.
Yes, to give us our financial clearance. Then afterwards, we give them another 14 working days to pay our allowances to us so that we will resume work. We are not leaving. It's not only the 2024-2025 cohort that will be on strike, but our junior colleagues that were posted not long ago will also join us because they also need their financial clearance. Else, they will end up like what we are also going through. So we leaving the wards, our staff will tell you, will be a very big problem to the health sector because we perform almost, should I say, 30 to 40% of the responsibilities of the staff. And should you take us out, I think they can testify what they go through.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. We hope that the ministry will call on you for a dialogue on this matter. Even Zabwati, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you too for the opportunity.
All right, let's take a short break here on the pulse and return with more. Now let's focus on some other stories. And the director of the Institute Care Division at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Lawrence Oforibuadu, has underscored the urgent need to develop a robust digital health infrastructure to fast-track Ghana's progress towards achieving universal health coverage, with just 5 years remaining to meet the health-related sustainable development goals. Also, Oforibuadu disclosed that the Ghana Health Service is intensifying its effort to forge strategic partnership that will extend quality healthcare to every corner of the country. Made these remarks at the official launch of the ECOWAS Medical and Academic Exchange Program, a collaborative initiative between Ghana Health Service and the government of China held in Accra.
ECOWA Medical and Academic Exchange Program, a collaboration between the Ghana Health Service and the Chinese government, aims to facilitate medical knowledge transfer to support Ghana's pursuit of universal health coverage. The 14th cohort of 2025-2026 includes 11 Chinese medical doctors who will be stationed at major health facilities across the country to train local practitioners. Speaking at the launch, Director of the Institutional Care Division of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Lawrence Oforibuedo, stressed the urgent need for a robust digital health system to accelerate progress toward universal health care. He described the partnership with China as timely and critical to that goal.
In the era that we find ourselves now, health innovations and technology is the order of the day. We can improve the quality of health services if we are able to bring innovations on board. And so we set for ourselves as a nation a program we call Universal Health Coverage Agenda 2030. And one component for us to achieve that agenda, that every person who lives in Ghana should have timely access to health care, irrespective of your geographical barrier, without any barrier to costing. So a lot of interventions have been put in place, but we realize that as a country we cannot do it alone. Now we need more collaborations, we need other people who have done it before to come on board to support us. So any such collaboration between Ghana and China is timely. It's at the time that we need innovation to speed up our processes. It's the time that we can sit here as a health service delivery, be able to give care to even the remotest country or remotest person in Ghana without necessarily moving our vehicles or going there personally. So we are in the world we call the digital health era. And this digital health era comes with a lot of innovations. Digital laboratory systems, digital diagnosis systems, digital communications, and even consultation, what people call telemedicine.
The Vice President of the Health Community for West Africa Association, Prince Dogbe, outlined the rationale behind the initiative, emphasizing its role in strengthening Ghana's healthcare infrastructure and advancing the development of resilient, patient-centered health system.
Today we launched the ECOWA Medical and Academic Exchange Committee, which is being headed or spearheaded by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. So in this committee, what we are doing is that we want to create that bond, that relationship, that academic exchange, which is the transfer of knowledge between China and then Ghana. So we know that when it comes to Ghana, for instance, when it comes to the human capacity, we are having a shortage when it comes to senior talents and professionals in the country. So we want to address that, and by addressing that, we are bringing our Chinese counterparts who are also well advanced in various fields in the medical sector to do research in collaboration with the Ghanaian community. In this way, what we do is that we do the transfer of knowledge, where Ghana will also adopt most of the advanced ways or treatment methods in China, so that together we can find solutions to some, diseases when it comes to NCDs, that's a non-communicable disease, when it comes to infectious disease as well.
Some members of the 14th cohort expressed satisfaction and optimism about contributing to medical knowledge transfer, particularly in advancing the use of AI in healthcare across Ghana. For Joy News, Carlos Caloni, Accra.
Well, let me take you to Brekusu, where healing once came from a dusty wooden shack, barely fit to stand, until compassion, commitment, and Rotary built something better. Now today, the community has pledged to protect and cherish this new clinic for generations to come. There's more in this report.
Coated in dust, this wooden shack hardly looked like a place for healing. In fact, when a thirsty Nana Autry, charter president of the Rotary Club of Ring Road Central, passed by 4 years ago, he nearly walked in to buy a drink, thinking it was a roadside provision store. Little did he know, it was Brekusu's only clinic.
She discovered Brekusu some 4 years ago. She stopped in front of the old Brekusu to buy water because she thought it was a corner shop. She was thirsty. And when she got into the shop, they said, this is a clinic and not a shop.
With government support out of reach, even the Municipal Director for Health Services, Emily Amponsa, at the time felt overwhelmed and helpless.
So the old facility was very depleting. Where we were, there were no rooms. The space were very small.
Today, that struggling facility is history.
1, 2, 3.
In its place now stands a $200,000 ultra-modern health clinic built by the Rotary Club of Ring Road Central and their partners.
So this one will be able to deliver better health care to the people of Brekuso and its environment.
Rotary International President-elect Mario Di Camargo is impressed with what he's seen.
People who come here and see your work and will help you to develop better service, better screening process, better equipment, and better life for the people of the community of Brekuso. So, take advantage.
District Governor Florence Mami Hagan calls it a model project, urging both staff and the community to help preserve it.
Beyond the bricks and mortar, this project embodies Rotary's commitments to sustainability. Together, we are building not just a facility, but a living, breathing asset for generations to come.
The chief of Brekuso, Nana Otain Koranche II, pledged the community's full support to maintain the facility for future generations.
Maintenance.
And Rotary says this is just the beginning. Club President Albert Bahum Wilson says they are looking for more sponsors to equip the clinic with advanced medical tools.
So we are in discussions with them and they are willing to assist. So we are hoping that by the time we finish with them, we should have state-of-the-art equipment here for the maternal healthcare delivery room, the pediatric. So we are on it. We are not leaving. We are just not leaving, packing our tools and go away.
For Rotary, service above self isn't just a motto. It's a mission carried out project by project, community by community. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Right, this is the pulse on Johnny. We've got a breaking story coming through, and it relates to the acting chief executive of the Gov't board, Mr. Sami Gyamfi, and the information we are picking is that the presidency has taken certain action on this particular matter, and I'm just going to read to you the news that is just coming through here on Joy News, and that we are told that the chief of staff has cautioned him, and that the presidency doesn't believe that further action should not be taken on this particular matter, and for that reason, and this is coming from Felix Kwachofosu, government committee. Felix, good to have you here on the poll. So what we are reading is that Mr. Sami Gyamfi has been cautioned, and as far as your comments are concerned, the matter should end.
Oh yes, I think my briefing of the press was quite self-explanatory. As you may have heard, on Monday, he was summoned by the chief of staff. That was after he had gone ahead to put out a public apology, expressing regret over the matter. The chief of staff listened to his side and defended the apology and the question for fight in view of later that one. And no further is required at this.
Meaning government found his conduct not acceptable?
Of course, it is conduct that we would have preferred didn't happen. But it was necessary to draw his attention, and that of all appointees, that some level of circumspection is required in the way that we conduct our affairs.
The MPP and some people demanded that he be sacked. They will not get to that.
Well, I'm not sure that the president's actions or the presidency's actions are in response to specific demands. The president himself is clear on what he expects of his appointees. It's been codified. You do know that no specific provision in the Code of Conduct has been breached by Mr. Sami by virtue of his conduct. No specific provision has been breached, though. But of course, to the extent that what happened did not meet the pleasure of the Ghanaian public, it was necessary that some steps be taken. And we didn't make it necessary to take these steps that I've outlined. And beyond that, we don't believe that the matter at hand warrants further action.
The video in circulation and some points to the fact that it clearly exhibits show of opulence and ostentation as is given expression in the Code of Conduct, and for that reason, he is in breach of that already.
Again, that is a matter of some debate. What constitutes ostentation? If I give you money, does that necessarily amount to ostentation? So we need to consider all of that. And having reviewed the whole episode and having listened to Mr. Sami, it was believed that this is the best course of action.
The opponents will say that the president probably is assuming the role of a clearing agent.
Well, the NPP cannot be in a position to say that, given their own abysmal and appalling track record in government. They didn't take any action at all, even against these clients who killed people. So even if murder was not sufficient to warrant sanctions from the president and his government, I'm not sure that lies in their mouth to say what you have to say. The point is that the president keeps his matters, and he has taken some steps to look at it. And remind you, the Code of Conduct spells out remedies for supposed violations. One of them is practicology. Another one is a course, and two of these have been done in this particular. So we believe that by giving factor.
Finally, the president is in Wa tomorrow on a thank you tour. Any highlights we should expect?
Well, it will be a continuation of his thank you tours. And he has been to a number of regions. It is now the turn of the Upper West region to receive thanks and gratitude and appreciation from the president for the overwhelming support that be extended to him during the 2024 election. And to be an opportunity for him to reiterate his commitment to working to improve the conditions of the people of the Upper West region.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. We'll follow through with a thank you to Felix Kwashiorfor, Government Communications Minister. Thank you so much for this update. And that's the news. If you just tuned in, the Chief of Staff has cautioned Mr. Sami Gyamfi, the acting CEO of the Gov't Board, and the presidency thinks that no further action should be taken on that particular matter. And as far as the Jubilee House is concerned, the matter has come to an end. As far as the call for Mr. Sami Gyamfi to be disciplined, should be suspended, should be sacked as demanded by other people. According to Felix Kwashiorfor, Government Communications Minister, Mr. Sami Gyamfi has been reprimanded, but nothing beyond that action taken, and no further action on Mr. Sami Gyamfi's case. So we'll leave it here, but we've got more on this particular matter on Top Story, on News, and of course on Joy News. But there's more stories on myjoyonline.com. Victoria Hammer, woman once sacked by President Mahama for merely wishing for $1 million, begs for Sami Gyamfi. 38-year-old man gets life imprisonment for killing Assemblies of God pastor in 2018. And of course, government deports 3 foreigners set to prosecute 3 others over gold smuggling. Right, so whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. My name is Elton Brobe. Thank you so much for your time. Good evening and take care.